A is for Alcoholic is a program about recovery. My name is John, and I'm an alcoholic.
And my name is Jerry, and I'm an alcoholic.
Join us as we go through the alphabet of alcoholism, one letter at a time. Today, and it's not a word. It's an acronym?
An acronym. Yeah.
All right, an acronym.
SCUBA.
So we are going to do H is for H.A.L.T. And, Jerry, you know what H.A.L.T. stands for, right?
Yeah, it's hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
And the idea behind H.A.L.T., as far as I understand it and the way that I use it, is these are triggers. They're not all the triggers that can cause somebody to want to drink. Not necessarily to drink. They haven't caused me to drink yet. But they are very simple triggers and things that, can be fixed, at least mostly pretty easily. And I just think it's one of the better tools that I've picked up as far as things to use. Because when I talk about, alcoholism being, it's more of a spiritual disease, or it has a lot more to do with just a bottle of beer and I drink it and then I crash my car. It's it's emotional and it's spiritual, and so there's a lot of these things and we don't even realize what's happening until it's too late, and then you're too drunk, or then you're just drunk. But hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. If you're hungry, I think that one seems pretty simple, but it's very easy to forget. I mean, you mentioned it before about you don't eat breakfast.
Not at all. Well, I eat breakfast. I drink smoothies, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But an old alcoholic thing to not.
Yeah. In that regards, I've always said that. It's an old alcoholic thing. I don't eat breakfast because I didn't want to eat in the morning. I wasn't capable of eating in the morning. I was so hungover. Mm-hmm. Plus, the last thing I wanted to do was put a bunch of eggs and bacon and hash browns on top of, a fifth of bourbon that's been sitting in my guts. That's just a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for. That's
disaster.
A recipe. To be quite frank, that's a recipe for having to shit in public horribly. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, everybody's like, let's go to brunch, and I'm like, no, fuck you guys.
No. I don't want to be stuck
so
in
I'm
gonna
drink a smoothie,
sober.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, even the hungry is in there because I feel like it relates to having low blood sugar, which I suffer from all the time, which, low blood pressure, low blood sugar, it makes you feel like garbage, and it makes you angry. It affects your demeanor. It affects your mood,
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I've gotten to the point where I will, I'll like hard boil some eggs, or I was telling you I'll take a sweet potato on the road with me.
Man, that's the weirdest thing in the world. You just eat a sweet potato raw, like an apple.
Well, not raw. It's cooked, but it's soft, so it's cooked, but it's cold.
Oh, you cook it. Okay, well, then that makes it a little less weird. I thought you were just taking a raw-ass, hard-ass, starchy sweet potato and eating it like a Sasquatch in the hills of Sonoma.
No, it's
wild
soft.
Out there.
It's soft, and so you just eat it like a cold potato, like a cold French fry.
Okay. Well, then now you're not as weird to me as you were before.
No. But yeah, so I think it's very easy to overlook, and if you're busy, and if you don't have time, or you're on some strange diet, which a lot of people can be, it's very easy if you're counting calories, say. Well, I mean, maybe you might be a little more aware of the food that you're taking in, but and I think being hungry, you don't realize it, and then it just changes. It changes the way you behave with people, with your friends, your loved ones, your family.
Right.
And it's like, you just need to eat a cookie, and then you'll be fine.
But I feel like it works I feel like if we're looking at the hungry, angry, lonely, tired as the four separate ingredients of a trigger, I feel like the hungry one standing by itself may not be as much of a trigger as if you sprinkled hungry on top of any of the other emotions. You're angry and then you're hungry, so then you're hangry, and you got this. So not only are you feeling mental distress, but now you've got the distress of like, dang, I need to eat or I'm going to die or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always feel like hunger alone, at least as far as my as I'm concerned with the triggers in my life for drinking or whatever, hungry alone doesn't, I'm never like, man, I have such low blood sugar, I want to get drunk. But if I'm like, oh, my blood sugar is super low and man, I'm lonely as hell, like the wife and kid are gone, I've been alone in this house for like a week, that definitely is.
And I haven't been eating.
Haven't been eating like a normal person, just one sweet potato out in the backyard, just squatted behind a poison sumac bush. Yeah.
Be careful.
That's Sunday.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think it's probably the easiest of the four to deal with.
Yeah.
Just prep some food, have a snack ready, some trail mix, cheese stick. It just makes all the difference in the world, especially if you are feeling frustrated, if you're feeling angry, that it doesn't have to be on top of it, like you said.
Right. It's like it's salt on top of the movie popcorn of triggers,
That
salt
pump,
and butter.
That
I don't
pump
know.
butter.
That's a weird. Yeah, that pump butter's good though, man. I like it. I can't eat it anymore, but I love it. Love it.
I think angry is probably. I mean, I guess you don't have it. It's the one that I think deals most with relationships, or at least ones that you're in, because I will very easily. It's very easy for when you're fighting with, and we all fight with our significant others from time to time, even in the happiest of relationships, and anger. I keep trying to come back to is this sort of manifestation. Well, anger is a manifestation of fear, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So underlying is you're afraid. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid that, and then it's this thing about the ego. And whenever I'm having a fight, say with my girlfriend, and there's something in my head, there's two things going on. Like, well, what is the actual problem that we need to fix? Because we're on the same team, right? I mean, supposedly, hopefully, that's the goal, is to be on the same team. That's why you pair up, right?
Right, exactly.
And so if that's the case, but then there's that other part in my head that's like, well, I'm right, and you need to know that I'm right, and you need to acknowledge that I'm right, and then you need to apologize for being wrong. And that is absolutely the wrong thinking. That's the ego stepping up and shoving everything else out of the way, any level of love or kindness or caring or compassion. And so I think that a lot of people, and I haven't experienced this, but when you get, I haven't gone out because of an angry, argument, but you get to that point where it's very easy to just be like, fuck it, and you're going to slam the door and take off and go hit a bar and be gone for 8 days. Right,
because that's the coping mechanism. That's the coping mechanism for that panic and that fear in there, because that anger is just an instinctual reaction to stimuli that you feel could harm you, which in its base is fear. Yeah. So your coping mechanism for years was to get loaded, whichever way you got loaded, or to get your dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And so you go through what gives you the dopamine hit. Bam. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so used to taking left turns my whole life. We're going to take a left turn right here. Yeah, the anger is definitely, more than anything, I feel like the anger has always triggered me to have those thoughts. You know what I mean? Like to think about it, like, damn, I need a fucking drink right now. And like that's that anger that kind of triggers all that. It's usually when I'm frustrated in the moment, it's that quick, like, whoosh, teeth come out. The phantom limb, as I mentioned previously.
Well, it
flares right up, man.
Yeah, it's not even, and it's what you're looking for is some sort of ease, some sort of comfort from that anger, some sort of release.
Yeah.
And alcohol doesn't work the same way anymore for the likes of me, for the likes of you.
Word.
And I think one of the best things is to just take a walk and take a breath. And
absolutely.
I know that when I have an argument with my girlfriend and maybe we still need to resolve something, I don't actually ever find the solution in the moment that her and I are arguing or her and I are discussing it, or it's the solution to whatever the problem was that made me angry. I almost inevitably find it on my own.
Yeah.
Whether it's whether it's taking a walk and just going around the block, or whether it's taking we don't live together, but taking a day away and just kind of like going, okay, what happened exactly? Now, why were you angry? Did you need to be angry? What was the real reason? And you kind of breathe and think about it. And so, I just find that stepping away from the situation, I end up finding the solution
absolutely
to that anger is probably the biggest coping mechanism that I use now.
Absolutely. Removing yourself from it. If you can't remove yourself from it, because there are times where there's also a majority of times where you're angry where it has nothing to do with an interpersonal relationship with a spouse or a family member, where you're just in the car and traffic is just bullshit and you're just like, fuck this planet. And you really have to remind yourself that you're not in charge anymore. You're not in charge of what's happening around you, so it's useless to lose control over those things. I remember when I first got sober, I walked into the intergroup office here, the local one, the EVI, and the lady sold me a big book. Or it wasn't a big book, it was a 12 and 12. And when she sold me the 12 and 12, she said, "Are you new?" And I said, "Yeah, I've got like maybe 6 months, maybe even less than that." And she said, "Okay, I want you to do something." And I said, "What?" And she said, "Do you have a hula hoop?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do, actually." And she's like, "When you get home, whenever you get really upset or pissed off or frustrated about something, you need to stand in the middle of that hula hoop and remind yourself that the only thing you're in control of is what's in the middle of that hula hoop." And I was like, oh, man, you just did some mind trickery with me, because it's the absolute truth. It's those things that you feel like you can't control. So even if it is another person who is being unreasonable, the advice of leaving the situation is great, because it gives you pause and it gives you a moment to really think about what it is that's bothering you. But then if you're in a situation where you can't leave, you need to realize that you can't control this situation, unless it's going to cause harm to you or something, then run for your damn life. But like
stuck in traffic.
Stuck in traffic, and someone's just dicking around because I'm in Oregon where everybody drives around like that, and so what's the use of me being frustrated? Like, it doesn't, all it does is, trigger those negative thoughts and trigger those negative feelings. And those negative feelings lead to, I don't know, somewhere not great,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do a whole podcast on traffic. It's supposed to be...
Shit, dude.
It's supposed to be a group exercise. We're all if we all on the same team, we can all get there together.
Yeah, believe me. We're all in the same gang here. We're on a gang truce. Don't you remember hip hop from the 90s after the riots? We're all in the same gang.
Right? It's just
but
you're that idea of being in traffic is perfect because you're not angry at anyone else. There's no one really to be, and the thing about it is the only one who's being affected by the things that you're saying or screaming or yelling.
Yeah.
The only one who can hear them in that little bubble.
Yeah.
Is you.
And your passengers, whoever you've got captive there in the car with you while you're flipping your damn wig. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's I mean, I don't know what the answer is exactly to not be angry in traffic, because traffic can be pretty frustrating, but breathe, relax. You said it, you can't control it.
You just gotta like almost third step the damn thing, which is, part of the 12 steps we work on, which is, you just gotta surrender. Mm-hmm. That's at least my interpretation of that third step process. Surrender. You just got to let it go. Out in the wind, man. Ain't nobody got it but your version of God, whether it be a bear, a fish, or fucking bunch of other drunks in a room. You just got to let it go, because there's nothing. You are here now. You are along for the ride. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, there's just some things where you're just caught in the fucking current of the thing, and just hope you get deposited somewhere good,
Breathe deep, man. Let the traffic go ahead of you. You'll get there when you're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
But
that's what I say. Unless you're in danger, then, like I said, run for your damn life.
Yes.
Run. Just tip a bookshelf over and run.
You getting in trouble at the library or something?
No, just, exactly. Or at Sports
Authority. Getting into fights at Barn and Sports Authority.
Throw all the shoes on the floor and run for your damn life. You're past triggers at that point. Just run.
Mm-hmm. Just run. Just not to the bar.
Stop, drop, and roll. Not to the bar. Yeah.
Go to Target and get some popcorn and buy yourself a new T-shirt.
Yeah. So what's the other one? Lonely.
Lonely. So Lonely's a good one, and lonely is, I think that's another big reason why I think a lot of people drink, because where else can I go where I can meet people, where I know people who will be there, people who
Yes.
can, who camaraderie in the loneliness. Where
Yeah.
what is the lyric, Jerry?
Which one? From what?
They're sharing a drink they call loneliness, but it's better
Oh,
than
yeah.
drinking alone.
It's better than drinking alone. Yeah. Thanks a
So
lot, Billy Joel, who I also suspect may have some issues with alcohol. Maybe not, but
possible.
possibly. But yeah, absolutely.
It's I think that's certainly one of the reasons why I drank for so long as I did. Is it was all about trying to find, whether it was going out with you guys, if it was friends that you already had and you're like, we're going to go out and have a good time and we can all have fun, and or whether it was meeting people, or whether it was meeting girls, or which it honestly, it was more about the alcohol for me than it was about trying to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
I just remember, like, if that ever happened in the past, it was ancillary to the number one mission at hand, which was to get drunk.
Yeah. Right.
But there's this, I think that also, I mean, loneliness comes, and it's not just even going out. Long after I quit going to bars, I would just sit at home and be lonely and be sad and just pour as much cheap vodka on top of it as I could.
Right.
And
I think it's that it's hard to no, it's not hard to explain. That's why we have a podcast, so I can make it easy to explain. But the thing about it is, it's that loneliness where you're just even hoping there's someone out there who understands what you're going through, or what you are. Yeah, what kind of animal you are, what kind of machine you are, and who you are as a person. And that loneliness is very profound and can be an incredible trigger, because you could be once again in a relationship with someone and still feel that loneliness very strongly because distance or whatever it is. But I honestly feel like pouring booze on top of loneliness just makes you lonelier. You know what I mean? I said it in previous podcasts, but it's that social drug that ends up becoming very very antisocial at some point. You started off thinking you're in the height of it, and everybody's around you is feeling in the height of it, and then you flash forward a few years, and yeah, like you said, you're in a bedroom pouring cheap vodka on the motherfucker, like
warm from under the bed.
Yeah.
Cheap vodka.
Yeah.
Maybe a beer to chase it.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I mean, yeah. These might be triggers too. Sorry about that, listening crowd. But we're getting real. We're getting real. Real ugly. We're getting real ugly.
So
But
it's
true,
I
though,
think
man.
I think it's honestly, rather than drink, pick up the phone and call somebody, anybody.
There are tons of resources in 2018. There's far more resources in 2018 than someone really close to me got sober in 1989, and I believe that he did not have as many resources out there. You know what I mean? As I did, but they still made it work. So there's still resources out there. Be it, dealing with a 12-step group or even finding like a community online. There's always someone out there. There's always someone out there who knows it. Yeah. Shit. We're out here. We know it. Drop us a DM, dude. Slide up in our DMs with what maybe we'll definitely answer.
You know where to find us. You can always drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to hear about your triggers.
Yeah, hit up John. He's the one who answers emails, so
But
I might too. I will too. Yeah.
We'll get you online answering.
Yeah,
do you have the online?
I have AOL online. You got a nice disc in the mail.
But yeah, I think that you just call. If anything, call your mom. She'll tell you she loves you. I mean,
Plus, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just saying, not only is there, professional help and numbers that you can call and people you can reach out to who have years, decades of experience who can help you and talk to you. But I mean, if friends, family, anybody, I mean, I would just say, if you think you're going to pick up a drink and you're feeling lonely, there's you can Google it. And there's, like you said, there's more than enough resources.
Right.
Call somebody.
Right. I guarantee
Please.
also that at least one sober alcoholic. I think everybody knows at least one. I think. I may be wrong. You may know just active alcoholics, but I mean, I've had people contact me who I haven't spoken to in years, and I'll listen, man. I'll listen. I will gladly listen, gladly, because yeah, and maybe that sense of altruism, or whatever, is totally self-centered. I don't know. I don't want to get too deep into that and kind of break myself apart. But not only does it make me feel good, but I would want someone to listen to me if I had reached out. And I had reached out in the past before, but I had reached out to other people who are still drinking. So they're like, "What's the problem? Dust your ass off and get out there," And I just I know that if I were reaching out, I'd want someone else out there for me, and they were. And they still are. So, yeah.
It's
loneliness.
It's important to listen. And what I've found is that we do this all the time, and I'm sure we've all heard it before, but we all kind of just wait in a conversation. We wait for our turn to talk, or we're already thinking about what we're going to say, or what we're going to do, or what we're going to eat for lunch. And I found that if I'm, you talk about listening to somebody and doing it sort of selfishly because, you're just looking to feel good as well. But I find if I really, really listen to what the other person is saying and kind of clear my mind, and rather than, have it just filled with whatever, if I really listen, I'll end up finding the thing that I want, that I was looking for, rather than glossing over it and just going into whatever my diatribe is.
Yes.
So it helps. It's important. Listen, talk, reach out, and touch faith.
Reach out and touch faith. And while you're at it, have some crackers and peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? You deal with the hunger aspect of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have a donut. It's fine. It's better than a glass of bourbon.
Hell yeah, dude. At this point in my life, I frankly would rather have a donut. I mean, if you put a glass of bourbon and a donut down in front of me, I'd be like, does the donut got custard or what? Because I don't want to fuck with this bourbon.
Yeah.
Because I can eat one donut just fine. I really can. I could probably eat half a donut, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't had one in a while. I've been trying to be better.
I haven't had one in months.
Which is not to say I haven't had a cookie, which is basically
man, I had
the same thing. But
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, s'mores cookie was delicious. I also had frozen yogurt, and it's just ice cream. They just changed the name of it, dude. But yeah, it's...
Not that frozen yogurt and cookies are a good substitute for loneliness either. That's not...
No, yeah, don't do that if you're lonely. I'm saying do that in conjunction if you're hungry and lonely. But just by itself, if you're lonely, yeah, don't appeal to one dopamine hit over
That's true.
An unhealthy one. How about
cookies?
An unhealthy dopamine hit? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The last one.
Yeah.
T for tired.
T for tired. Which we're not going to be doing T for tired.
No.
For the podcast.
No.
But we'll do tea right now. Sweet tea, iced tea.
I think that when anybody's tired, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know that my judgment is impaired, and it can lead to bad decisions. I haven't been in a situation in a very long time where I've been exhausted and just said, fuck it, I'll have a beer or anything like that. But it certainly puts you in a lower state of mind when you're exhausted. And then, some things sound better than they actually are. Yeah. So I think that's another thing about whether it's time management or you just need to take a nap or you've been up all day with a child, and it just seems like, gosh, again, it's that idea of looking for release and looking for ease, looking for relief from something when you're feeling one of these things. Yeah. And and nowadays it's like, just take a nap, man. That's mostly what needs to be done. Yeah. Get the sleep right. I felt like in early recovery, I had to have my resolve up a lot. I really had to have my shield up a lot to kind of guard me from the world around me, because even though I stopped drinking, the world did not. They did not get my memo. But
I feel like having that resolve up in early recovery for me, when I was tired, my resolve was a lot lower and I was less resilient to those things around me. Nowadays the resolve only has to come up every once in a while, very rarely. But even then, if I'm tired, I feel like there's a little chink in the armor, a little crack or a crevice in the armor there. But I mean, yeah, like just to reiterate what you said, when you are exhausted, your decision making processes are not as good. For lack of a great word, I was like searching for the word, and all I got was good. But yeah, they're not as good as they are when you're well rested or you got your shit together. Even tired, even if it's not tired from like a sleep, it's just not having your shit together. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't got your shit even somewhat together, that could prove to be a slippery slope, as they say.
Well, and tired can very easily, if I'm exhausted, and then I'm more irritable. And then who knows if something's going on, and then I'm angry at my girlfriend because I'm tired because she said something that rubbed me the wrong way. And then so we get into a fight, and we were going to have dinner together, and I don't end up having dinner with her. So now, and then I go home and I'm all by myself, and now I'm tired and I'm angry and I'm hungry and I'm lonely. I know I didn't put that in the right order, but
that's all right.
The whole idea is that these are all things that are they're all connected, or they can be connected.
Yes.
And hunger can sprinkle on top of any one of those. And it's very easy to go from being tired to angry, and tired to lonely, and any number of ways. You can lose sleep being upset with something and not be able to sleep because you got the agita, as they say on The Sopranos.
And in that situation, all you got to do is call me. Reach out, call me. I'll be like, listen, you got to get 2 sweet potatoes. Eat those sweet potatoes. Then go to bed. You wake up tomorrow. You got to let it go when you're going to bed. Wake up tomorrow. Give your old lady a call. Bam. You got it all solved. There you go. Problem solved.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, I'm the guru on the mountain. You just got to hit me up, man. That's what I'm saying, though. I brought it all together. I brought it all home. You reach out.
I appreciate it.
You get the advice from the other person or not. Maybe you just reach out and say, hey, man, just listen to me. I want no advice. And then
that's
you eat
true, too.
You eat 2 sweet potatoes. Go to bed.
They're good, man. I'm telling you, once you have a cold sweet potato, I like to get the purple ones, the Japanese ones.
Yeah.
And I cook them up. I throw them in the fridge. I like rip them in half and eat them. No
I got
butter,
a white
no
one,
nothing.
but I'm making French fries out of it tomorrow. I'm gonna go buy a red one tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I'll report back on the next podcast if we remember.
Give it a shot. But it's just, and this. I think this tool is really important. It's all about understanding what your triggers are, because these are just 4 of them, right? And there's a whole world of things that can go wrong.
Right.
The world is going wrong as we speak.
Right.
And I don't even know what's out there for me.
Exactly. But these seem to be the big baddies. And it seems to be able to identify them. Then it makes whatever difficulty you're having in life a lot more easier to deal with, because now you have a name for it. You got the H.A.L.T. If you're having a hard time, you can look at it and go, am I hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Now, what do I need to resolve? How do I live in the solution of this thing?
Yes, that's great. What is it? The live in the solution, not in the problem.
Not in the problem, man. You live in the solution. So you're like, am I hungry? Nah, I had a sweet potato. Am I angry? Nah, I'm cool. Am I lonely? Yeah, you know what? I am a little lonely. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta go down the checklist. And there's other ones that aren't part of the acronym that we didn't mention, but there's anxiety and depression, and there's those other things too. But
living as an adult as an adult child of an alcoholic, dealing with childhood traumas from an abusive alcoholic father, who you still are bothered and plagued with on a daily basis. Any one of those things. I mean, that's just my story, but mostly I try to stick with these are the ones that can spiral, very easily cause you to spiral out of control and not be able to discuss and to handle the other things that are deeper. These are just, I think that these are the 4 that, like, you said, you can put a name on it, you can take a second, identify it, and then live in the solution.
Find that solution, son.
Thanks again for listening. As always, our music is by Neglect. You can find his stuff at neglectsound.bandcamp.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can listen to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And get a hold of us at aisforalcoholic@gmail.com.